Hi guys, I'm the Movie Guy, and today I'm reviewing Star Wars Rebels Season 4, Episodes 3 and 4, In the Name of the Rebellion. Once again an arc, just like the last two episodes, and as is kind of announced, every week we're going to get 2 episodes. Now, not all the episodes have the same name. When they drop together, like some of the episodes I already looked up have a different name even though they drop on the same day. But in this case it was once again an arc, and a very important arc, I think, because right now we are really getting into the events of Rogue One. We get to Yavin 4, we see Mon Mothma, we see Saw, we see the Rebel crew actually interacting with all these people that we know from the movie, and it's just really cool, first of all, but also it makes you realize that we're finally getting there. We're getting to that end point, and we're tying it all into Rogue One. I really enjoyed both of these episodes. I will not say they're my favorites. I have a few complaints with them, but still, these are really good episodes, and I'm really liking the fact that they are doing arcs, because yeah, no, it does allow for them to tell a bigger story every single time. Like, you actually get 42 minutes or something, 43, something like that. You get quite a long time to actually tell a bigger story that helps, that really helps to tie it all into Rogue One. Because in this case, when you have a single episode that has to tie into Rogue One, yeah, that would be hard, and I'm happy that they actually did the second one as well, to show us that the rebels are actually learning about the Empire, what the Empire is actually doing. And you see it with Saw. Saw is very knowledgeable, and at this point I'm actually happy that I read Rebel Rising. At first I was frustrated by the book because it was really something that I would have wanted to see in Rogue One, and still it's something that I would have wanted to see in Rogue One. However, I think there's too much in that book to really fully put in a movie besides the movie itself, because I think Rogue One as it is, it has some issues, but I really like it, and that book definitely enhances parts of it, and it does enhance this, because you see Saw's arc. You see where he was in Clone Wars. You see where he is in Catalyst, because he shows up there. You see how he is in Rebels now. We also saw how he is, no pun intended, in Rebel Rising. So you really get this full arc from Clone Wars, Catalyst, Rebel Rising, Rebels, and Rogue One. And of course, there he dies. Spoiler alert for a movie that is almost a year old. And seriously, if you're watching this review, you should have seen Rogue One, I assume. So to me, Saw's arc is still interesting, and I still wonder what happens to him that actually makes him go completely disabled with the metal legs and whatnot. I was kind of expecting it to happen in this episode, and I thought they may have gone there when the Kyber crystal exploded, but it didn't happen in this episode. But it'll happen soon enough, because you see how reckless Saw is, that he really just goes for it, and if that at one point kills or hurts him, yeah, I don't think he would mind that much. He's trying to fight his fight. Now, to get back on track, this episode started on Yavin 4, and to see Yavin 4 in this show with all the characters that I have known and loved since the beginning of Star Wars Rebels, it's just so cool. It's so cool to see them all together, finally on Yavin 4, and really becoming the rebellion. And it also shows the differences between ideals in the rebellion. Like, Mon Mothma has a certain type of fighting, or lack thereof, that she wants to do. Hera has her thing that she wants to do. She, for one part, wants to be like Saw, for one part wants to be like Mon Mothma. She actually doesn't know, and it's just really cool to see that conflict, because we've seen it in books, and we've had scenes of it in Rogue One, but now you get even more of that, and it's just really cool to see that, because there are people, or at least humanoids, because Hera is not technically human, but like she is something like that. And the thing is, it's just really cool to see how everyone is not entirely on board with what Mon Mothma wants to do. Everyone has a different ideal. Everyone has a different opinion on how to act, and you see that in this episode. And I think that's really cool because it just shows they're human, and and it's not like, oh, we're all fun and games, we're the rebellion, we're the good guys. No, they are probably the better side compared to the Empire, but like the Empire has good guys as well, and the rebellion has some people that you might not want to be associated with if you're a rebel. So it's always cool to see that kind of conflict. Now, there is a big amount of fan service in these episodes, and some people are going to complain about that because Rogue One has a lot of fan service. However, the difference between this episode and Rogue One is that I think all of the fan service in this episode is good. It doesn't hurt anything. In Rogue One, it did. In Rogue One, 3PO and R2 showing up on Yavin 4 created for a plot hole. Cornelius and Ponda Baba on Jeddah. It's like, it's possible, but really you could just have gone without them and the movie wouldn't have been any worse or better, really. Probably would have been better because it doesn't make us realize, oh, they are on Jeddah here and they have to be in, like, none of that in this episode. In this episode, I think all of the fan service made sense, and it was really cool to see all of these characters that we know from the movie. We see U-Wing show up with actually Two Tubes piloting it along with Saw, actually showing that Saw and Two Tubes have been together for a while before Rogue One. That it's not just, oh, he's just there. No, they've been together for a while, and really Two Tubes is Saw's right hand. So that's really cool to see that. Of course, we get a mention of Jeddah. It makes sense because it's about a Kyber crystal shipment. When you have a Kyber crystal shipment, there are a few planets that you can go to. We know Ilum, we know Christophsis, but of course, if we're so close to Rogue One and we're tying it into Rogue One, yeah, it's gonna be Jeddah. So that was cool. That made sense, and it's just always fun for me when I hear those kind of things. It's like, hey, I get happy. It's just me fanboying over it, but it makes sense. It does make sense. All of it, I was like, does it make sense? Yes, it makes sense. One thing that doesn't make sense though, and it really pissed me off, and this is definitely why I do not love this episode, is because they ruined Death Troopers. Death Troopers in Rogue One, and so far in Rebels, up until this episode, were so fucking cool. They were awesome. I love them. It's like they have amazing design. They have this speech that they communicate between each other that other people cannot understand. And they're badasses. They kill a lot of people, and it really is tough to kill a Death Trooper. Not in this episode. They got taken down pretty easily, which is fucking hell. And they speak basic. And that really took me out of this episode. Every single time they spoke basic, especially because the commander of them has a really high-pitched voice, and it's so fucking obvious that it's not an actual Death Trooper, that it's someone actually speaking. That bothered me so much. It really did, and it's like, this is once again Disney doing this kind of shit in a great episode. Like, they pull this kind of crap in a lot of episodes when you have an overall great episode, but they put in one element that is extremely kiddie because kids are watching this and they know because it's on Disney XD. It so takes me out of it, and it's just like, can we just get a fucking good Rebels episode? Can this just be my favorite? It can't, because they have to sprinkle that kiddie gooiness in there, and I hate it. So yeah, no, that really took me out of it. Another thing that really bothered me, Commander, I believe Brontitis or something, once again shows up. We saw him in Stealth Strike first on the Interdictor, when he was like the commander of the Interdictor and they were testing that. Okay, that's fine. Shows up once. Then he shows up again and steps in the shadow. I was okay with that. I was like, okay, if this is once again him showing up, that's fine. I do wonder why you bring him back. Is he that big of a fan favorite? Seriously, Stealth Strike is definitely one of my least favorite episodes of this show. It really didn't do a whole lot. It was kind of filler in a way. I mean, it's cool that you see the interdictor, but I knew that from Legends, so it's like I already know what it does. And yes, it does introduce it in the show, but I wasn't a big fan of that episode, and I was like, and really, is he the reason that people did like the episode? I don't think so. So you bring him back in and steps in the shadow, fine, and you bring him back again now. Why do you bring him back now? It doesn't have a purpose besides the fact that we already know him. And that Ezra knows him, of course. So, because that was brought up, of course, that they know each other. Other than that, yeah, it could have been cut out. It could have been someone completely differently, but it was him. Okay, to end on a high note, one thing I, of course, loved was Hera. She was in this episode. She was a badass. She was a good leader. And as I said, she was actually struggling with what she wants to do. Like, what are her beliefs? She doesn't know herself. And that's really cool to see that she's actually struggling with that. Because this show has shown she's a great pilot and she's really good at a lot of things, but she's not a perfect character. She's flawed, and that's why I love her more than Sabine. Sabine seems a little bit too perfect at times. Granted, Sabine has been growing over the last couple of seasons, especially last season, in terms of her character, and has shown flaws, but still, Hera, I think, is the better fleshed out character between the two, and I just prefer Hera, of course. That's beside the point. But the thing is, Hera was really cool, definitely showing she's a great leader, and that she once again is a flawed character. And the relation between Hera and Kanan, also known as Canera, as some people like to call it, it's there. It's been shown in the trailer that that relationship is going to be more explored in this season, and it's showed in this episode. It's just... it kills me every single time knowing Kanan will die. That is kind of guaranteed at this point. I know he'll die before A New Hope because it doesn't make any sense if there's a Jedi in the Rebellion and Luke is there. It doesn't. That can't happen, so that kills me every time I think of it. However, it's just cool to see my two favorite characters of Rebels hooking up, because that's essentially what they've been doing since A New Dawn, and it seems like they're really going with that in this season. So I really want that to happen. But it also kills me knowing that one of them will die and the other will live on. Anyway, that's really all I can say about this episode. I thought it was a really good episode, but definitely not my favorite because of certain issues, certain flaws. Those are my thoughts. I wonder, what are your thoughts in this episode? Did you love it? Did you hate it because fan service? Please, whatever you think, let me know in the comments below. I will be back next week with reviews for The Occupation and Flight of the Defender. Two different titles. So, I don't know if this is an arc or just two standalone episodes. I don't really know what to expect except from Flight of the Defender, which is probably going to be something involving a TIE Defender. The Occupation, I have no idea at this point. I'm just looking forward to it because this season has been good so far. For last season, it definitely shows it's the last season, and I'm okay with it. I've accepted it. I was really sad at first, but I've accepted it's the last season, and they're doing a really good job so far. So I'm looking forward to it. That's really all I can say. I'll see you guys later. If you've liked this review and you want to see more of my movie trailer reviews, reactions, whatever, click right here.